Yeah.
Good morning, good morning. We are live. Hello, this is Terribly Live, and we are live on YouTube. And I am here with my co-host Drake, and this is our morning wake-up show. And this is our episode number 7. Hey, Drake, how are you today?
Doing awesome. Just ready to jump in on, well, not my first dab of the day, but the first dab of the show. So I'll get a nice, good one loaded up. I got a little base of some D8, which is whatever, and then I'm spicing it up with some Super Silver Haze live resin. So what about you? What are you puffing on?
Awesome. Well, before I get to puffing and talk really bit, I'm going to tell everybody what we got going on. Hey, we're going to hang out a little bit today and chill and chat, talk to the cannabis community, see what's going on. And if you have found us today and you are not subscribed, please subscribe, because we would like to have you hang out live with us and chats. And make sure you get those notifications. You got to turn the bell on. But sometimes those don't even work, right, Drake? So what we've decided to do, we're opening a Discord so we can keep in contact with everybody. I'm super excited. We're going to have a Discord community so we can help everybody with that natural farming out there and teach them the most economical ways to grow. Super excited about that. And this morning we have my geese on camera here, but they're kind of shy. They're kind of hanging off camera here. Apparently I didn't focus the camera in the right area. So let's start the dab. I am going to go in with, what am I going to go in with? Tidal wave. I'm going to go in on tidal wave today, Drake. This is the profile here. Beta caryophyllene, D-limonene, beta myrcene, alpha humulene, and beta pinene. Total of 3.83% terpenes. There we go. Cheers, everybody. Welcome, and thanks for tuning in today. Heat this baby up. Whoops, if I have a little water in there. I always hate when I wash out my banger and get them all clean, and then you have that little bit of water in the corner that sizzles when you go to light it. And I also am going to be throwing the link out to Eric today. I think Eric might be checking in later with us in a little while, see what he's got going on. I think he might be out in the field. What's up, Octo? Tuning in today. How's the fam? What's up? What's up? We got Boom Farms in the house. Morning, morning. Wakey, fakey.
Cheers.
Cheers, Drake. What a beautiful morning. I can hear all the birds out there chirping away. And in a little while, I'm going to bring in one of my geese and actually put it right here. I'm going to bring in that goose and show you what she looks like and how big she is. And we're going to talk about her. Her name, one of them's Daisy May, and the other one's George. You can't even see him. I'm not going to highlight him. I'm going to look clear off the edge. So we'll just take a dab and have that dab first.
Ooh, that Super Silver Haze packs a bite.
Does it?
A little bit too terpy.
I've never had it before. Cheers.
It's nice. It's got that hazy kind of chem related profile to it. The not necessarily menthol, but like that kind of vibe, kind of that aspect of things. It's nice. Oh, we've got another little birdie visitor for some water.
That's the grain. He's getting in the grain bucket.
Oh, it's the grain bucket. Hungry little one. Ooh, I'm just I've got a little hand sprayer. I'm gonna go out and I've on some roses. We've got some caterpillars and then aphids. So I've been trying different sprays, and I'm switching over to another sprayer because I found a little video of how to hack it so I can make it super foamy. And that's kind of like the bread and butter with a lot of these sprays and using the surfactant properly. It's just get that foam dispersion. So I'll try that out later, and maybe we can talk about that next time if it works or if it doesn't.
Definitely. And I just bought a new sprayer attachment as well. I'm going to be working on trying to get some aphids. I'm going to be doing some test plots on some aphids that I found. They're on my stinging nettle, and also over on the, oh my God, what's it called? The honeysuckle. There was all kinds of aphids. But I've noticed there's a difference between the aphids. the aphids that are on my stinging nettle look similar to the aphids that get on the cannabis, and the aphids that are on the honeysuckle look more like the aphids that attack the cauliflower and the cabbage family, and
I think that's what I've got on the
kale
road.
family. Yeah, they're like gray kind of.
Yeah,
different.
and like there's like, I mean, they all have various life cycles and
Yes.
can get pretty large, but they're big. The adults are large. They're winged. I know I don't know if all or most aphids are, but they're definitely they grow into their adult form, and they've got wings, and they're mobile, and they're little bastards. And so we've had good results so far. We're using the ginkgo solution, boiled some ginkgo leaf down. So we'll be trying that in different dilutions. And as I said, if I can get that nozzle to really foam, then it'll do the trick for even the caterpillars. Got a Japanese elm tree, one of those big trees that landscapers hate, but same thing. It's bad for tent worms every year, so I'm going to be trying it for that tree as well. Honk.
Oh, there we go. That's George. She's getting her food.
Eat some green.
Here we go with spotlight. Morning, everybody. How are you? We got Hawaiian Sustainable turning in. What's up? What's up? We got Ian. How are you, Ian? Love you hanging in chat. How's everybody doing out there? Are y'all puffing this morning? What are you waking and baking on this morning? I thought I would show off my geese for you all. Last night I was on the Fumidor show. Drake and I decided to hop over and support another cannabis channel. If you're not already following him, make sure you jump over and follow Fumidor. But we were hanging out on Fumidor's shore last night, and I showed my goose off over there, and I thought, I should bring him off and show him off on my own channel.
Yeah, we'll even get the ducks in for an appearance soon once they're not so dirty. Some dirty ducks right now because the ladies are brooding and the male doesn't go too far away. So if I brought him in right now, he'd be real anxious. He wants to be within certain perimeter of his ladies.
Unplugged thought we made that noise. The honk.
No, that's all Goose.
Uh-oh, Ian. That's not good. Brown bottle flu. That's not fun. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, throw that link out to frickin' Farmex. I forgot, Drake. Hold on. And so are you guys want me to bring in one of the geese? Are you ready to bring in one of the geese? I'll go get one. Or should we have another dab?
I always have another dab, but yeah.
Let's have another dab.
I'm close with the geese. Now it all depends the mood, because it can be quite annoying, but I love the birds in the background and the sounds of nature. So like here we got crazy crickets and frogs in the evening, and it's nice, it's kind of soothing. But then on the same hand, it can be quite frustrating if you just want some peace and quiet. So let's load up. What's everyone jumping in on?
Smoking haze fixes hangovers. All right, there we go.
Gotta be persistent. Well, we'll be persistent, right?
Okay, well, I'm gonna go in on one more, and then I will go get my goose, and I'll bring it in and show you. Does anybody have any questions for us today? I thought maybe we would talk to Drake a little bit and get to know Drake a little bit more, and how Drake came about cannabis, and maybe put Drake on the spot today. What do you think about that?
Drake doesn't even know what cannabis is. I thought it was called marijuana.
Marijuana. Well, that's what my license says. But by the way, y'all, I went to the doctor yesterday and got my medical card, medical marijuana card, they call it here in Washington. I wish our Washington State would get on board with not calling it marijuana, but hey, at least we can get a license for it. I'm not going to complain too much.
I hear there's some recreational, let's say, legislation coming along your way, or something coming up in Washington there that could potentially be good news. So I think I heard that last time over on Fumi's show as well, but didn't get too deep into it, so I don't know much more than that.
Oh. Well, maybe you know more news than I know. I don't actually
look into it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, wouldn't that be exciting if you got another proper program that could actually rival what's existing, because it's just not really up to snuff.
Super skunk rosin. Is it skunky? Or is it lemony? Drake actually is from Canada. I know he looks like a Californian, huh? He is actually, I call it the Humboldt of Canada. He's up in the Okanagan Valley, and it's similar where Dragonfly kind of lives over in that kind of area. It's all beautiful growing area. Just north of me, huh, Drake?
40 minutes away from Kelowna, California.
Kelowna, Florida.
They call it the closest you'll get when you're in Canada pretty well. As far as anything even similar to being down to Vancouver and the island. Down in Kelowna and the Okanagan here, you got access to a couple of huge lakes, multiple lakes on top of that, but there's access to a couple of them that's like within, 10 to 15 minute drive of most people. And we've got all the seasons. We're technically the tip of the desert. So we have some of the, we got rattlesnakes and different scorpions and some tarantulas. You don't find them too often, but they're around. But then we also get to negative 25 and a couple feet of snow on the ground. And so it's pretty neat. We get it all. Oh, that one's kicking me in the behind.
That one's really good. That one was really, really, really good. Woo! Amazing. Okay, I'll go get my goose. I'll be right back with my goose.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, we got some great news recently. Tara was able to obtain that license to get a proper physician. We all know how hard it is to deal with locking that down and then speaking with someone and getting set up with a new doctor, especially when you're like a lot of people right now and they don't happen to have a family doctor, be it they've passed away or moved on or just it's the way it is. So we're really happy to finally have one locked down for her. I believe there's an awesome place down near where Tara's located, Dr. Funk, and she's good and will help you out if that's something you need. So that's exciting. Now Tara can get going, get grinding, and get those plants rocking out there. I'm super excited to see what comes of it. Like that massive Congo, a couple of them. I want to see what comes of that. I think it's just going to be a handful, to put it nonetheless. And because the Congos are such a heavy feeder, I'm interested to see, and so is the goose, if it's going to be able to be sustained from like down practice. Uh-oh, someone's coming to catch a goose. That's the goose alert. Yeah, goosey. I'm gonna get you. Oh, you're not getting me. You're not getting me. Oh, here, I got you. We done got one. Full-blown goose right there. Uh-oh. So who wants to bet that's a happy goose? Okay, sorry, I will mute the goose too, because it seems like goose B is a little upset that goose A got to leave. So now that we've restored order, less goose horns going off. We'll see how long it takes Tara to get back in here. But yeah, so we're super excited overall for the season, and we'll see how those Congos take with the natural farming practices with the Jadam style, because sounds like they can eat upwards of like that 1,800, 2,000 plus ppm of feed. Anyways, back to the goose. Let's get the proper screen up here for you. And there we go. Look at that. That's a big goose.
Okay. Meet Daisy May, y'all. We're going to set the towel right there in case we have a little accident.
That's more than a little accident with those.
She's got big feet. There's a big feet and big wings. She's a big baby.
Wow, yeah. And did you say what kind of goose it was?
She's an African goose. Hi, baby. Yeah. Hi. Say hello.
That's pretty cool how chill they can be when they're so used to being handled and brought around. Obviously, that's a very familiar. Oh yeah, with you, Tara. So, what do you think? Are you saying hi to everyone? You only get to see me, Goose. That's all you get. And how much did you say that goose weighs? Like, is that like a 30-pound?
Oh, she weighs quite a bit.
Probably around 30 pounds, 25 at least.
She
So I think even Dabs, my chubby little male duck, is about 15 pounds, and yeah, he's maybe half the size.
Oh no! There she went. There it went.
She launched a little
caught
bomb.
it. Did you see the tail wiggle? They tail wiggles. They give you. Yeah. Well, we caught it. Thank God in the towel, because that's gonna be nasty, and it stinks. Okay, so before we have more accidents and she's cleaning out, we're gonna go leave and take her back out with her friend, and we'll see y'all in a bit. Go back from her nap. Okay, bye.
That's so funny. And I just muted you, Tara, so you can collect them up. Oh, look out for the poopy. We all get to watch the madness from here. That's perfect. Oh, and they're gone. As fast as they were in, they're gone. So there's a pretty tame African goose. I say pretty tame because I think a lot of people have a pretty tainted view of any sort of geese. Even yesterday we were speaking on the Canada geese over on Fumi's channel, and there is quite a bit of fear instilled to many from these geese, because when they're territorial and not so familiar with people, they can definitely chase you down, and they're tough. Like, you don't want to get smacked by the wing, and they can kick. And I mean, even the bite, it doesn't necessarily, like, it won't make you bleed or break your skin because they kind of don't have teeth, just little serrations like a butter knife, but like they can grab you pretty good and kind of give you a little tugging. So it's pretty interesting. I'd love to play around with a couple birds that big for sure. But anyways, I think it's time to hop in another dab. That was a good bit of entertainment there to see Tara the Goose Wrangler. So what's everyone gonna hop in on? Who's doing what? Just geese just shit everywhere. Yeah, the geese can definitely produce manure. That is for sure. They are pooping machines. That said, they make pretty beneficial poo, but when it's all over a beach or all over somewhere you're trying to enjoy, I definitely understand how that can be less suitable or less pleasing, especially with us. We got lots of the Canadian geese. That's no joke. And yeah, if they take over a beach, you definitely are keeping your sandals on. So how'd it go, Tara? You get your gooses back?
It's good. I'm good. I didn't get any pooey on me. We came out clean.
No duck done anywhere.
No duck done. But I also got all my plants planted, by the way. I'm super excited.
When did you sneak off to do that?
Well, I kind of planted a little bit before I got my actual license. But hey, that's all right. So I have 15 plants planted. I have 2 Congo, and the Congo are huge already. We're going to be working on getting them scrubbed out. I need to take some pictures and show y'all. I've kind of abused them. They don't look the greatest right now. The sun really bleached them a bit. Like, I should have hardened them off a little bit more.
Well, but, I mean, and you did, to be just for everyone else, like, you got them in the greenhouse and had them there for a while, and just we had the assumption that, it should be fine to go from greenhouse to the sun. Yeah. But I imagine you got lucky and had one of our desert days as soon as you planted them, and like the UV index and just how powerful that sun is clearly quite significant. So I even went through the same thing with a couple of mine, and I was working on conditioning them properly. I was just going to put them out for a couple hours. Good old fashioned, didn't set an alarm, got caught up in the indoor grow, come outside, it's just scorching, and I'm like, oh, this is no good. It was a couple hours extra, and yeah, I got a few of the leaves started to bleach a little, but that was quite a while ago, so they're doing well now in retrospect.
Nice. I don't know if Eric's going to be joining us or not. I threw the link out to Eric. He said he was going to try and join us and come in maybe from the field. Well, that'd be neat. Maybe from the hemp field, it would be my guess is where he might be coming in from.
Hemping ain't easy.
Yeah. And I did tell everybody that if anybody wanted to come on today and show their grow or show anything off or just come on and take a dab with us, I was going to throw the link out today in chat. I forgot I did tell everybody that. And we're going to stay a little bit after the show today if anybody wants to come on and hang and maybe meet up, or maybe if some of you would like to meet each other, I'm going to throw the link out and leave it up for Zoom and hang out for at least an hour after the show today. Kind of a little chill and chat, if you will. Drake, how did you come about cannabis? Let's talk to Drake. Let's ask Drake some questions, y'all. Let's put Drake on the spot. Drake 101 today.
Well, I don't know. It's imagine one of the first times was just with a half stepbrother, so just a stepdad's stepson, and when we were left alone at far too young, I don't know, some between 11 and 13 or something like that, we got into the wrong drawers and tried to twist up something. It didn't really work, and we got to light something on fire and inhale, I'm sure. But that was kind of the start of it. And then for many years from there, we dipped into it. Myself kind of got heavier and heavier around, say, the age like grade 10 to like whatever that age would be through high school. Started really going hard, like, because getting labeled the stoner and going like all day, every day kind of things. In turn, I also started doing quite a bit better. I went from a C- student to solid B's or so in grade 11 and 12. And the only reason for that was just being more focused. I'm an ADD case all over the place, not super interested, always trouble focusing on things that aren't extremely compelling to myself. So if it's anything that I'm like semi-forced to have to do, it's I'm in la la land. I'm out there dreaming. So I found personally the cannabis helped a ton with that. And this is at a time where I had no idea, where I was still like kind of like sneering at my peers and others that were preaching the benefits of how cannabis can help with cancer and so on and so forth. And I was kind of like, oh yeah, here we go. This is, my friends are just, everyone just wants it to be great so that they can justify using it. I was like, I'm fine just using my cannabis because I like it. Like, what's wrong with that? Well, lo and behold, I'm actually using it for my ADD, for being able to be more coherent and be able to wrap things along. And even like with this, like right now, kind of keep going on the same subject without rabbit holing too much, even though I'm just a trifler for going off on rabbit holes anyways. But that's just my nature. So it's I can acknowledge, and anyone close to me can really acknowledge the difference from being able to be medicated as opposed to just all off and screwy. So after, say, maybe even like grade 12 time, after a couple of years of heavier ingesting and then a couple of years to prior, really started looking at it more as medicine and understanding how beneficial it was and really seeing the positive properties, seeing it worldwide. I had been experienced with my a personal dog of mine. She was a Akita Shepherd Wolf, a beautiful animal, and she got this brutal tumor under her front right arm. At this time, it was after I was a little bit less ignorant about the potential benefits that could be had, and we had access because just from the nature of the game, we had access to all sorts of things. At this time, it was like RSO, like not full spectrum, nice ethanol extracted oil, like Rick Simpson oil, probably isopropanol, naphtha, maybe crude alcohol, but something crude. But regardless, we were able to get access to a full spectrum of sorts concentrate. So ended up convincing my mother to get my dog onto this so we could both give it to her on a average baseline throughout the day. So she took her amounts. Now I'd be a lot more cautious just with my understanding of the ECS in animals and specifically dogs. I'd be a lot more cautious with any sort of full spectrum product. With the CBD, you can kind of be a lot more giving and have a lot more room, a lot higher threshold before the dogs start to get lethargic or anything like that. Whereas with the full spectrum, with THC specifically, and I mean the numerous cannabinoids we don't even know about, and all these different factors and constituents within the cannabis itself, but THC specifically has been shown to be a lot more effective for them. They process it at a lot higher of a rate. Mind my layman terms here, but they process it a lot more efficiently. So a lot less will get them the same medicinal effects, as well as their weight is significantly less than us. I mean, aside from some of these beast animals, like this little puppy's turning into. But for most dogs, to say you got a 50-pound dog, it's going to be really hard to try and quantify giving them a full spectrum medicine for anything, just due to the nature of it. So be very, very close. Speaking of a rabbit hole, just went down one, but I think it's very important. If you're giving your animal full spectrum, just be very cautious with it. Start super low and titrate slow. That's the name of the game. And weigh in what they're dealing with, of course. If this animal is like at the point where you're almost feeling it needs to be put down, well, then you could probably get a little cheeky with your dosing, just because the alternative is it's not going to be around anymore. But that's just my 2 bits on the sense. Be very careful, because they don't know what's happening. They don't understand. It's what you're giving to them, because it takes too long for them to process that on the most part. And on the flip point, we've all had animals that somehow show up every time you're lighting them up or hitting a doobie. So, they do have some idea, I'm sure, on the other side, but be careful. So anyways, to see it firsthand, I had convinced my mother with giving my dog this full spectrum oil, crude full spectrum oil from probably Mids as well, which is just, I say it to amplify the fact that it does work and it can help. It doesn't always work, but it can help for sure. So we gave my dog this medicine. She was definitely a little stoned, but she got used to it pretty quickly and was on like the rice grain a day, if not a little more, which is a lot for an animal. I'll stress again. But anyways, within 2 weeks, that tumor that was roughly so there's softballs, hard balls, and golf ball. It was halfway between golf ball and hard ball. So it was like a big size. You could grab it. It was like, oh, this is no good. Just it was bad. And anyways, we got that to her within a couple of weeks. It started being less firm. So that was kind of like weird, but we don't know anything. We're just like, oh, this is weird. Hopefully it's a good thing, but we got no idea. Maybe it's spreading. We don't know. But lo and behold, within the month, it actually started getting to the point where we could kind of like squeeze through it and start to like touch your own fingers through it. And this is nasty, right? We're talking about like dealing with like a growth inside of a dog. So it's not pleasurable, and sorry for the visual, but it was just so cool because we were able to actually start. And then we're thinking, you know what, this seems like it's getting less strong. Like, again, we don't know how tumors work, and we're just some dumb kid and dumb mom, and we're just trying to figure it out. But nonetheless, after the second month, this thing got down to less than the size of a ping pong ball. So now that's, I say, even a size smaller than a golf ball. So it's like decreased over double. So if it was like a fist, now it's a good size ping pong ball. So anyways, I did that, and that was incredible. And at this point, I started having some turmoil with my mom, and I moved out, and because of the success, she stopped providing it to the dog. And I came back, and I was still around, but not as much. And in 3 months, I had came back, and I was playing with Kia, that was her name. And within like 30 seconds of meeting her, I felt the tumor, and it was now again back to at least the size of a golf ball and getting like some rigidity or some rigidness to it. Just creating words, my bad, but it was getting more firm. So anyways, was kind of had another good altercation with my mother, wondering why she had stopped getting the medication, and got her back on the regimen. And again, same thing happened. So I was able to see it twice from the same thing, the reduction of it. And then she was able to live a couple more years, pretty good life, until she was of old age and had to go. And it was great. It insured her a few more years. It also has allowed me to see that personally. So that was pretty cool to see firsthand. But then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I think I owe a couple friends some apologies, and like, wow, this is fantastic. And from that path, I really started just looking down all the different avenues and facets of how this can be medicinal and beneficial. So like, finding things like, and I might mislabel it because the patent's actually expired, so I haven't been quoting as much, but it was like the patent, the 6630507B1 or whatever the hell it came to. I might have messed up one of the numbers there, but it was for cannabis as antioxidants and neuroprotectants. And it was for cases such as like a stroke, I think heavy traumas, Parkinson's, dementia, something else, again, a little fuzzy. I have some flashcards I'll have to freshen myself up with. But regardless, there is a patent held by the US government from the early 90s, or started, that was like applied for in the early 90s, passed in the early 2000s, something like that. That was cannabis for antioxidants and neuroprotectants. So that's like literally, if they've got a patent saying that if your brain is decaying, that they potentially have something that could help it, or it could slow it down. There's a lot of potential there, and it's very interesting to see that. So then from seeing that, and then seeing about these other kind of less spoken on and less large patents, there was a few, and there was ones for like specific anti-tumor proliferation things gone through. And there's like lots of stuff on the back end where you start looking and you go, that's weird to see, especially when it's lots of the entities that were holding it were these large, like say government entities that are saying there's no medicinal value. So it's kind of like, well, what's going on here? And like, I'm again just some dumb kid and trying to figure out what's going on. It doesn't make sense. And like, am I doing something wrong? What's going on? I'm being told I am. So kept finding out more and more, getting more and more passionate. It was like 2014, try to grow for the first time with a couple buddies. I failed pretty horribly. I mean, it worked, it went through, but if I remember the spider mites, it was in like just everything was wrong. It was what you do if you were a young punk starting to grow for the first time in the shed in a place you're renting, right? It just wasn't very conducive. But from that, we learned about the ACMPRs and got, we were able to get, like in Canada, we were able to get federally exempt if you've got a condition that they deem worthy, which is funny because like for me, clearly for my ADHD, works really well. I use it for many reasons, though. I'm multifaceted for that. But like, if I had to say something, and if I wanted to speak about something and talk about for what I think it's really beneficial for, I would say it's for the ADHD. And my family doctor completely agrees. Because we're in Canada, I got cannabis for back pain. If I was in California, I'd have no problem getting cannabis for ADHD. So it's like, well, what about the person that's now in random state that doesn't acknowledge either thing, that can't get it for either or, but now I'm over here, and it's just not fair to the patient. So go ahead, Tara. You are muted, my good friend.
So Washington doesn't do it for ADHD, just so you know.
Actually, for that specifically, I don't think many places do, so I got to be careful.
No, ADHD and ADD.
California and Dr.
And we're not recommending this for anybody. We're not telling you to go out and try this without getting information. We're just telling you our personal experience, and that's all we can do.
Characters on a platform that are just talking about theoretical things. So just make it of it as you wish. We're definitely not giving any medicinal information, no medical.
And YouTube hates it, so there you go.
That sums it up. We're not giving medicinal information, so we can't even talk. So definitely be careful.
We have to put our warning on the show.
But for someone that can and does and has given out some good information from California, I believe, is Dr. David Behrman. Bearman, pretty easy to spell the last name. So Dr. David Behrman, and he has a lot of I'll just to blanket it, theories and ideas behind what cannabis can do and provide for people with ADHD, and how it affects the same reactors, and how it kind of does the same interplay with dopamine as you would when you're taking these amphetamines and like say Dexedrine or Concerta or something on the lines. And it's like we've got something in our brain that's I believe it's either slowed down or sped up at this at a nanosecond, at these the very fraction of a second rates within these within the I don't want to try and get too smart here. So just there's things happening in our brain that are happening slower or faster. When we take the medication, it's able to fix that. And cannabis works in the same way, they're finding, which is nice, without the plethora of side effects. And I mean, it's different for everyone. I'm not knocking those. I think there's
is it the synapse or firing? Was that what you were looking for? Okay.
But there's like
it's okay. Yes.
Yeah. Again,
it's your receptors and your synapse and how they respond, and your serotonin and your cortisol levels and your testosterone and your estrogen, and these are all things that are really, really super important. In fact, before I left my doctor's appointment yesterday, she says, "When was the last time you've had those platelets checked?" And I haven't had them checked for a while. I have to admit, I hate doctors, and I told her when I walked in there, I says, I have to be honest, I hate doctors. And she's like, I really appreciate you being honest, it's super important to have those checked because they can get out of balance. She says, it's good to have I wish before I had cancer that I actually would have went in and had those levels checked. So I would have known what my estrogen level and what my testosterone levels, and maybe that would have given me some idea that maybe I need to be careful. Maybe, you might have cancer a little, sooner before, it was such a big tumor. So I don't know. It's just those things that we kind of want to talk about and warn you guys on here. But we also don't want to give any medical and health advice. We also want you to do your due diligence and check things out. If we have people on here and guests, which we will have guests, and they will state certain facts. Just because people state certain facts and look like they really know what they're talking about, sometimes it's not necessarily true. And that's a lot of things behind, some of these doctors that I've been to. Some of these doctors are like, oh yeah, you need this medication. And I'll go home and I'll start doing my research. And I'm like, what? It causes this side effect and it does this and this. And I'm like, no way. So just, trust yourself, do your due diligence.
Yes.
Welcome,
And
everybody.
just
I see
scrolling
we
along.
got we got some new people in chat today. Hello. We got Crazy Cast tuning in. We got Matt. How are you? Welcome. Simon, what's up? There's some of my Twitch friends tuning in, y'all.
And I want to touch and agree with Hawaii Sustainable Organic Ethanol only for the RSO, and then I even like to say for the FICO, for the fully extracted cannabis oil. On one of the pages I follow, C.K.C. on Facebook, was originally Cannabis Kills Cancer. They're very, very structured on there. It's great to go in and kind of give your own user testimonial about what you're going through and dealing with. They're super like I said, structured and fluent. They'll go through everything. There's some really, really intelligent members on there. They will help you and guide you. It's the same thing. They're cautious as far as, let's say, giving out medical advice, but it's so great for any, like, you can just go through and see all the different trials and tribulations. People talk about their stories. They talk about exactly what they use to help. They have all, like, lots of them are really comfortable, so they'll put up their information, all their charts, all the stuff right from their physicians. A lot of them are in legal states and are able to work in accordance with the laws and still be able to provide this information to show, like, hey, for my specific case, we use this specific cultivar, so on and so forth, or this certain ingested method, and we're having this success. So it's a really good just another outlet to be able to get information from. But the reason I bring them up is because they don't even let you say RSO anymore, because just most people think, and it's not knocking RSO ish, sort of kind of at like the heart of it. It's just knocking the fact that it's done improperly. It's improper practices, and it leaves you with an inferior medicine. And when we're dealing with patients, we want the highest level of medicine. So instead of using naphtha, isopropanol, cheap alcohol, we can use high grade ethanol. We can use it in closed loop proper systems that can actually refine and reuse most of that ethanol. So now we're also not just wasting stuff every single run. We can have like a 95 to 98% reuse and return rate of our alcohols with the proper machines and the proper equipment. So anyways, yeah, you want to use that proper equipment, and then it can be tested, but anything can be tested, but then you want to have it tested each time as well, so you know what main cannabinoids are majority. So it's like, for a lot of the time, it's 60% is a rough ballpark number, but it's great to know if it's 63%, 58%, what specific ratios are in there. So then when you're quantifying this medicine or a patient's using it, and then even to the next level, if they actually have some positive results and they want to go and talk to their physician now because they're excited and they want to help educate and spread the good news, it's kind of hard to say, well, I smoke a doobie of Purple Kush 3 times a day and it's really helped with this issue. And a physician can't really work with that. Whereas if it's like, 2 points throughout the day, I take 0.3 milligrams of this 60% RSO ethanol extracted product. Oh, by the way, if it's to the next line, it's got this majority of these certain terpenes. We're big on this show and in general about the entourage effect and how everything works great together and in unison. So like breaking things down to its core isn't always the best route, but for these physicians and for people that have to work with a certain level of certainty, you need to know what you're working with. So I'm totally for it in the sense that, like, once we break these things down, we can start now re-adding them and really seeing how, like, A works great and B works awesome, but when you have A, C, and you add Z in, it works 100 times the potential. So it's just, there's so much room for things to come together. Speaking of rabbit holes, that's far off. All I want to say there was, as we like to call it, FICO, fully extracted cannabis oil. And shout out to Kathy, middle of my little rant here. That's an awesome cup. I know Sister Kathy sent that your way, so hopefully she's having an awesome day, probably working away.
Yes, shout out to my sister Kathy. Sis, you're working away, working hard away. Welcome everybody for tuning in today. I appreciate y'all tuning in. We got an amazing chat rolling by. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm missing some of the comments. Make sure you have it on live chat, by the way, if you're tuning in, or you'll miss some of those comments.
Definitely.
There's a big difference between live and talk chat. So just so you know, if you're new here. Oh, Teo, how are you? Welcome, Cheddar Bob. What's up? Red River's tuning in. How is everybody doing? I'm going to throw the link out in chat if anybody wants to come in and smoke with us. We would love to have you. Yeah. Anybody got any questions for Drake today, by the way? I thought we'd just, give Drake the 101.
That sounds like me talking again. Anyone have anything they want to come give, any statements they want to come give about their grow? No, that was
I
pretty
love
well.
it.
That was the run. We got to 2014. We got my crappy little grow going, and then from there it just kept stemming, got more and more passionate. Started really figuring out how to get those seeds taken off, and from, I mean, pretty well thanks to yourself. I was into it just from the nature of hash church and kind of how the industry was going. Was very interested on this kind of like the organic styles and like.
So on YouTube, who was the first person you came across? Like, I'm growing. How did and then how did you lead up to the Regen conference? Because that's how we met, right? Was through the Regen conference.
Yeah, we certainly did. Thanks to you, just being pretty well an awesome kick-ass moderator, and I didn't notice your videos right off the bat. I got to lead into those after the regenerative live stream in Maine, I believe it was, where you were pretty well just being a mod and holding things down without being, with just volunteering is what I'm trying to spud out, but it was awesome because we were able to now have so many people get together, and just from meeting you, then we hit it off, and we're just able to continue on. Prior, I think it was Hash Church, honestly. I'm pretty sure that was the first, and it was like in the the newer age of it, probably closer to the. And now I'm so bad with dates. I can't remember when it was started, probably around 2011 to maybe 2013 time. I don't even remember when this all was kicking off, but my good buddy and now business partner, but more importantly, great friend, Cam, he was big into all this, way ahead of his time, essentially. When we were still rather young, he was getting out there. He had, I'm using his webcam, actually, he recently brought to me because he wanted to see the quality go up a little bit. So I'm using his old webcam. And he was out there. He was in some of the older forums and some of the school stuff. So I mean, you're in there with a lot of the OGs. I think part of that tiny chat that B-Man was doing, even like I think that was maybe even prior to the Hash Church, and like getting out there and chatting and learning and
tiny chat. Who remembers tiny chat? I actually joined that once. That's crazy.
So he turned me on to it, and then from there it was just slowly getting more and more interested, and then as my passions on the side really lined up with it, I started just getting more and more serious, and then to the point of like, all right, time to start rewatching from episode 1 and taking notes of everything and learning crazy things, like first time Skunk Man Sam was getting weed from people in high school from his girl. Like just as weird things I had written down. I was just so interested in everything. So I wanted to know everyone's backstory and started learning the stuff and looking up all the people. And from that, you're able to then network and kind of like, oh, well, all of these guys have a mutual friend of this person, and you look into them, and then there's some industry leader in some other aspect. And if you really want to learn and just get inspired, there's so much room. So there we go. Continuing on that. But hey, I noticed we had Eric jump in. So without me
Eric,
talking over.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but we don't see you. I don't know.
That's because I'm at a secret location.
Ooh, top secret. Eric's checking in from a top secret location.
Tell us a little bit about it.
What's up?
Oh, I can't share my secrets, but I'm happy to join the conversation. So I didn't join earlier. I had a phone call I had to take.
That's okay. We forgive you.
Right on. What are you guys up to?
Well, I showed off my geese, and we've just been talking to Drake, kind of how Drake got started in cannabis, and we talked about how Drake and I kind of met. We were just talking about that. You came in on that for a little bit, and I said maybe you'll come in out of the field, and then I threw the link out in chat to see if anybody wanted to jump on and smoke with us today, because we have guests coming on in the next couple shows. We have a couple guest plans, so this will be one of the only open panels for a bit.
Right on. That's always fun.
Yeah. So what do you got going on? What's up? What's up?
Let's see what's going on right now. We just launched our filtration website publicly a day or two ago, so that's been keeping me pretty busy. The valleyfiltration.com, just mostly for like hydrocarbon processors, but anybody doing any sort of like cannabis post-processing as well.
What was the name again?
Valley Filtration. Because we're in the valley, the Willamette Valley. So we got that launched, and then let's see what else I got going on. Just a bunch of shipping. I've just been super busy the past couple of days putting orders together, either for the filtration website or for Europe, which has been a huge pain lately, just because UPS has been making us go through this whole international special commodities thing, because I guess they just passed a new set of rules internally a month ago that hemp that's for human consumption needs this special license. which for a logistics company, UPS sucks. Like I'll be on customer service line and they'll be like, oh, I'll transfer you to this other department. And then they'll just transfer me back to the main like line. And then they put me in touch with a customer service specialist, and he was from the wrong region. So he had to bounce me around to a different region. And it's been like a 3-week process getting this figured out. So like kind of ready to switch to FedEx. But kind of boring logistics stuff over here. Hemp season starting, so you know, all the hemp that's in the ground.
Yeah,
Been there for a couple weeks now, a couple inches tall. Got some red families.
I was gonna say. So, what did you plant? Or how many acres are you doing? What do you got going on?
So I'm working with 3 different farmers this year to do 3 different small plots. We've got some abacus and cherry abacus going, and we've got some of the Crawford's sour stuff going, their new sour stuff, and then we got a plot with some strains I haven't really heard of before, but the profiles looked like the right terpene ratios I'm looking for. Basically, everything we're growing this year is for terpenes, and we're trying to get as little myrcene as possible and as much, you know, beta-caryophyllene, limonene, terpinolene, you know, alpha bisbolol, some of the other ones that are, you know, a bit less hempy.
Sounds amazing. Hey, so I'm gonna go move my camera so you can actually see my geese, because they keep wanting to stay over in the other corner, of course, where I didn't put the camera. And Red River just joined us. Hey, Red, how are you?
Cheers, doing good. Must have a goofy connection.
Red does have a goofy connection because he's talking. It says he's muted, and now he's gone.
just enough.
And boom, they kicked his ass.
So how about that?
What happened?
Oh, there he is. He's back. Yeah, go ahead.
How about that
Sorry,
hash church show the day after we were talking about Future?
All right, what do you think? What's airing?
Yeah, exactly. Isn't that funny? We were talking about Future 4200, and there he is on Hash Church the next time. Isn't that hilarious?
I thought it was great. I love anytime Dr. Scaldone gets to really go into technicals. And I really enjoyed seeing Dustin out there representing the community in the forum. And I shared a link to the podcast on the forum. And during the podcast, Etienne went and joined. Bubble Man, who made an account but never actually used it, came and joined the conversation. So Dr. Mark's already been an active member of the community for a while. So it was nice to kind of join those forces and see those 2 worlds collide a little bit more than they already have. And, you know, it was nice to get into the Delta 8 talk a little bit. I joined 30 minutes into the episode right when they were getting into some of the on-forum drama we had about Delta 8 ice formation. So I need to actually go back and watch the first 30 minutes and see what led to that point. But it was fun. It was good talk. And also, you know, right after we had that conversation, or maybe it was right before we had that conversation where Future was sharing his jars of heavily medicated. No, I think it was right after. It was right after we talked about the price of CBD and what it really should be. And he was basically saying that they're selling CBD with 100-gram minimum purchase on their compounding website at 80 cents a gram, which is, you know, a really nice, reasonable price. They're still able to make an extra, you know, couple $100 a kilo for the extra work of shipping 10 packages instead of 1. And, you know, the general consumer for $80 can get 100 grams of CBD, which is a lot of medicine. I mean, you know, there's a lot of retail stores where for $40, you get 1 gram. So to get 100 grams for 80, I think that's pretty cool and right in line with what we were talking about.
Oh yeah, and that's prominent and all over. Even here, it's the same thing. I mean, we're getting to see a little cheaper, you know, $30 a gram and stuff. But holy smokes, how outrageous! So that's incredible.
Well, you know, maybe we should follow his lead. I've actually been wanting to do something pretty similar, and just haven't updated my website to do so. I was going to break it down into 28-gram minimum purchases, but you know, something like that. 28 grams to 100 grams, and then just try to offer it, you know, at the absolute lowest price we can without losing money. You know, not to make money, but just to kind of share the
Getting the
share
medicine
the
out there,
love.
man. That's nice.
And I wish we could do it with THC too. I mean, but at this point, we're kind of limited.
One day.
I mean, shit, yeah, maybe sooner than later. Or maybe if we kind of get the Delta 8 thing settled down. Texas has been going back and forth with Delta 8 over the last week or two. It looked like they were going to ban it, and then it looked like they didn't, but it wasn't a matter of like making it. It was like they basically didn't get the paperwork in on time to fully make it illegal, and now they're trying to enforce that same smokable hemp ban that got put to the sideline like a year ago. So we'll see how that's going. It's about 8 or 10 states that have straight up banned it in the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man.
Get another phone call.
A circus. All right. No problem, Eric.
I put them on hold. If it's important, they'll leave me a voicemail.
So are those your new pets?
So-
Pets are
Yeah. So someone asked me that this is my bird sanctuary. So the in the red bucket is like wheat and different grains, oats and stuff. And I put them in with water. So the little Tweety birds actually can't get it, but the geese and ducks could actually eat. So if you have geese and ducks and you use grains, you can put it in water. But of course it will ferment, so you can only use it a little bit throughout the day. But these are my African geese, and I did bring one of the geese on and showed it off earlier. So if anybody was interested in seeing a close up of this baby, I brought it on earlier. And I also wanted to show you real quick. This is also the different size in the eggs. This happens to be a Mara Araconda egg, which is blue, bluish green. And then this is the goose egg. So just wanted to show you those. And yeah, great
huge.
Conversation, guys, today. Oh, they are huge. Both the egg and that. That's like a whole meal. One of those eggs is like a whole.
That's
whole
getting close to
meal,
like
too.
ostrich size or emu size or something, man. That's up there.
Those are cool. I wish I had an
Yeah.
emu or an ostrich. That'd be amazing. So, well, thanks everybody for joining today. Eric, it's been awesome, and Red jumping in here. Gosh, everybody in chat, does anybody have any questions? Did I miss any questions? If there's any questions, please excuse us if we've missed anything. Let me see what else. Is Delta 8 safe? That's one question we got in chat. Okay,
Well, here's the problem.
So wait. We do not offer any medical advice on this show. We are not total experts. We offer our opinion. These are all opinions. So Eric is going to be the most qualified to answer this question that I probably have as a friend, because he works in the lab. He knows about testing. So I'm going to let Eric take that question. Go ahead.
All right. So with all that being said, the question isn't necessarily whether or not pure, clean Delta 8 is harmful to your health, as much as is it being manufactured and cleaned up properly. Because what you have to remember is, let's say you start with clean ice, and there's no pesticides, and you've got no other weird additives. Then you have to add, a Lewis acid and heat, and to get that conversion, you're also most likely getting all sorts of other conversions and isomerization. So you could be making all sorts of other cannabinoids and quinones and who knows what else. So then you've got an acidic solution that's potentially full of other crap. So you need to neutralize your solution. There's a couple ways to go about that. And then you need to distill off your product. There's a couple ways to go about that. And then you need to make sure it's clean. And at this point, it seems like that might involve chromatography, probably flash chromatography, to make sure you actually have like a pure, clean product. And what we've found, we as like the industry, some of my peers and myself and anybody else that's done any sort of market research where we're taking products off the shelf and getting them tested, is that we've still got unknown peaks, we've still got poor conversions, and that for about every 100 products we're pulling off the shelf out of the market, there's only about 5 of them that are actually below 0.3 delta 9 THC. So A lot of them are illegal, but then we're seeing all sorts of other mystery peaks. So in general, Delta 8, as of now, what's currently available, I would say proceed with caution, because there's still a lot of other things that could be in the Delta 8 that might not be safe. But Delta 8 as a molecule, as a chemical, from what we've known studying it over the last 50 years, doesn't seem to be dangerous itself. It's just what else is in the D8 and hasn't been cleaned properly and neutralized properly, etc. Sorry for the long-winded, pseudoscience
No,
answer.
it's the truth, and
Trust your
yeah,
source.
yeah,
Trust your source.
exactly. Like maybe
Or don't
like
trust
the
your
Delta.
source is
Well,
the problem.
maybe also the Delta 8 might be maybe a little bit more safer to consume like through your digestive tract rather than through like, obviously.
That's a good point. If you're
Like-
not smoking these things and you're just ingesting these things, they might be a little safer, but it also depends
But
on
we still don't know
what they are.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these cannabis testing labs, I mean, they're only testing with HPLC and they're only testing for what they're looking for. So if they're not looking for it and they don't have the standards and they don't have, you got to have the standards, you got to know what you're looking for, you got to have the right equipment, and you got to be able to differentiate your peaks. And a lot of these labs aren't even able to differentiate Delta 8 and Delta 9 because the peaks are so close. So if we're having other isomers with similar molecular weights, I mean, we really need, NMR and mass spec and all these other resources that like we just don't have at your everyday, commercial cannabis or hemp testing facility. And the ones that do, I mean, it takes a long time to develop these standards, and you have to have a lot of really smart people. Like KCA out of Kentucky, I think they're out of Kentucky. They're leading the charge on this right now. They've put in a shit ton of time developing. I can't remember the term they use, but basically procedures. They're developing SOPs to differentiate these cannabinoids in the lab properly and actually look for things that we need to be looking for, such as the CBD quinones. And if you go on Future 4200 and search ion trap, there's a couple other things we're looking for, like olivitol, p-cymene. There's a couple other ones, but there's some toxic compounds such as olivitol and p-cymene and these CBD quinones that people aren't testing for. Well, I mean, KCA is, but like they're the only ones. And they've got this award that the Future 4200 community kind of put together along with KCA called the Pegasus Award for the first D8 that was below 0.3 D9 and over 90% Delta 8. And it took like 6 months of the whole industry trying really, really hard and sending in a bunch of samples to get a pass there. And then since then, they've started testing for all these other byproducts, olivitol, p-cymene, et cetera. And I don't know if anybody's gotten one that's over 90% Delta 8, below 0.3 Delta 9, and clean. I think that might be the new Pegasus trophy. And if somebody did win it, it was like one lab out of Colorado with a bunch of PhDs.
I think that's extremely important information to get out there too, because like myself right now, I've got some.
And that is one of the conversations that they were having on Hash Church this last week. Right when I joined, it sounded like they were wrapping up that conversation. So I'm assuming the first 30 minutes has a good amount of that D8 talk.
It was yeah. There was even a few people complaining about D8 Church, but hey, it's information that doesn't. I get it's redundant. I know it's been on the fucking centerfold for a lot lately, but it's because it's been it's had a lot of facets. It's been used for so many things. And then once we figured out the isomerization and what people were doing, it's been a topic that reoccurs. But yeah, one of the things that I believe it was Dustin that brought up was like, oh no, yeah, they've found like when they were doing these different. Again, I'm going to start butchering terms and everything, but isomerizations. And he was talking about past groups that had done it at a pretty high level. They had found things that would definitely kill you right away. Things that would kill the rats and kill the animals like quickly with not too much exposure from the sounds of it. So there's like definitely a lot of potential through all this stuff to do things wrong.
And what Dr. Mark was saying is all these patents and these old papers from the 70s, they weren't trying to scale it up. They weren't trying to make it clean and commercial. They were trying to cause on a very small scale in a lab, do a small workup to do a proof of concept. You know, they were trying to force a chemical reaction. They weren't necessarily worried about whether it was safe for human consumption. They were saying, we're able to create this reaction in a lab under these conditions and create this molecule and identify it. That was their goal. Not, hey, let's throw a bunch of shit in a flask with citric acid and heat the hell out of it, and then without distilling or neutralizing it, smoke it. And they were cleaning their stuff up with chromatography too. I mean, back in the days in the 70s when they're getting these pure compounds, you know, they're going through distillation and chromatography.
Okay, y'all. I think someone's calling a dab bell in chat.
I'm not against it. I won't fight it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Or do I have to do that? Dab.
I like the ding.
Great.
The dab ding.
Ready? Drake, dab.
I like the dab
One,
ding.
1,
We'll do
2,
1, 2, 3 ding.
Drake.
A dab out. I prefer the gong. I like the dab
Okay.
gong.
You like the gong? Okay, let's hit it. All right, I'm heating up. Eric coming in with all this knowledge drop today. You know, I'm just like, I'm not into all the extractions like you are. I like solventless. It's easy. It's cheap. I know it's clean because I did it myself. So someone's asking in chat, how do they know if it's clean? You really don't know if it's clean unless you get it tested, right, Eric?
Yeah, like I was saying, you have to go to a very reputable lab that has the capability to not only, they need to know what they're looking for, and then they need to have the ability to look for it and identify it. So at the moment, unless you're getting your stuff with a COA from ACS out of Florida or
Okay,
KCA.
so yeah. So it's a question that his state's non-friendly, and they have head shops that sell Delta 8 cartridges. That's the reason for the question.
Well, and it's like what Eric's saying is it's even worse. It's not even like if you could have fucking all the testing you want and all the COAs you need, but if the lab you've got doesn't have the proper standards and can't even test for the shit, it really doesn't matter. And you're just getting a guess as to what's in there. So you have to have very specific labs doing that testing to even have reputable results.
Yeah, so first thing I would do is if you have the package, well, if I was there at the store, I'd ask for the COA. And anybody that's, let's say you're a smoke shop and you're buying Delta 8 cartridges or bulk Delta 8 off some dude on Reddit or LinkedIn or whatever, they should be asking for the COA and they should have a COA available. So that's something that if you ask them at the smoke shop, they should be able to pull it up in an email or have it behind the counter or something. If not, I'd look on the package for a QR code, see if there's a QR code that leads to a COA. And then you need to kind of verify that is true. You know, you could either call the lab that provided the COA or the lab that produced the Delta 8 and just, you know, make sure that, you know, 1, there is a COA, 2, it's from a reputable source, and then 3, that it's like a genuine COA that did actually come from those people. Because there is, and I don't want to say that any Delta 8 is safe, because like Tara said, we're not doctors, we're not, you know, making medical or scientific claims here, but if you were gonna ingest it, I definitely check the details on the COA, where it came from, etc. But a lot of stuff that we've seen is like, you know, they'll have a COA from one of these red flag labs that passes everybody, and then they're sending stuff around that's got like 5% Delta 9, 10% Delta 9. So I mean, if you see anything from Greenleaf out of Portland, or what was the other one? There's a couple other ones. I can give you a list of like red flag labs if you want to share them on your.
Oh, I would totally share them if you want me to. I would put them down, and we could also comment under this video if you wanted to put it.
Well,
Also DM us, and we could also put them on the Discord if we want to do that.
Right on.
And DM Eric, you guys, if you do have questions, Eric would be happy
Yeah, sure.
to probably, answer your questions.
And if it's like pink, if it's pink or red, that's usually a pretty bad sign. It shouldn't be flowing around in the cartridge. If you flip it over, you shouldn't see any bubbles. Shouldn't be crystallizing. With Delta 8, it should be clear or yellow. And if there is any purple or red, it should only be the very, very top bit. And that'd be oxidation rather than, if the whole cartridge was red, then you've got a pH issue, which means it wasn't cleaned up properly, which means there's probably more issues than just the pH.
Generally, if it looks like this, avoid it. And this is like a small amount that's been out for a long time, and it's been sitting around for a long time. So it's actually like I'm very confident with it myself, just from the specific hue it is and from how much oxidizing it's had and from still having clear in there. But just like as a rule of thumb, it should be nice and clear.
Yeah, and like I said, yours looks like it's more on the top layer, so yours looks more like oxidation than an improper cleanup. But I definitely avoid anything purple in general. Well, that's good information to have. And also, we've been seeing a lot of people out there trying to sell D10, Delta 10 lately, which does exist. It is a thing. But most of the stuff we've been coming across when we actually get the COA, it's like very low amounts of D10. And like, I don't know.
What is it?
It's not like clean, pure D10 going around right now. Not that there ever was. It's just there isn't now either.
What's the main constituent then? If it's lacking D10, is it more like D8 or D9?
We're seeing it'll have like a lot of D8, or sometimes like a lot of D8 and CBD in there that they're using for the D10 stick.
Makes sense. So then it's just not having proper conversion.
I mean, I'm sure if they took some of the D10 that I've seen out there, at least the COAs that I've seen, and then ran it through flash chromatography, they'd be able to get a good separation. I just haven't seen it yet. So I think what's happening is there's people doing really shitty D8 conversions, ending up with D10 and saying, oh, well, instead of cleaning this up or fixing this, I'm going to sell this to try to replicate this.
Well, yeah, right.
In a boiling flask, whatever, you're going to end up with other shit.
Sometimes,
and like Dr. Mark was saying, glass is acidic. Glass is salicylic acid. So it's like even without the acid catalyst being added, who knows, what we're creating when we add all this heat. Because I mean, the temperatures that we distill things at or that we reflux at are pretty high. And not everybody does it under inert gas. I mean, these reactions should be done under argon or under nitrogen to avoid some of these side reactions from happening. I don't know if I'm still here. Did I lose you?
No,
Nope,
you're still here. It's a
listening.
little in and out, but like for the most part, like we can usually hear everything. I'll just speed up and slow down a little, tiny little bit of robot, but we haven't had a problem, myself at least, being able to get
right on. Yeah, I'm in the middle of nowhere. I'm actually surprised at your service.
Happy you do.
Yeah, we're happy you do. You are clinging around a lot of shit though.
Secret,
That's
secret.
okay. You're a working man. I know you got shit to do. So we appreciate you coming in and checking in and sharing this knowledge. Everybody comes in and does this for free. And I really appreciate all the panelists that have ever been on my show. Every one of them are people that I have met. Most everyone on here are people that I have actually formed a relationship with in the community in one way, shape, or another. Unless you guys are just popping on and I've never seen you before, that's something new for me. Hey, China Berry, haven't seen you for around. How you doing? Welcome, welcome. I'm Ed popped in. Mark Hogue, love you hanging out. Stu's in the house. If I'm missing you, Supreme Grapes in the house. How are you? Welcome, welcome. We have a 420, another 420 coming up in about 6 minutes. I say we maybe hit that and call that our last dab of the day. And what do you think? Any more other news you got coming down the pipeline for us, Eric?
Oh, let's see what's going on. Nothing new or crazy. No new cannabinoids I've got my hands on. No new terps until later this fall. The new rec shop is still kind of at the same spot as when we last talked about it, waiting on, finalization and inspections and that kind of stuff. So kind of just hanging out for now.
Lots of work out in the fields. Will you be doing?
Oh yeah, lots of busy work with the hemp, and we've still got some stuff we're trying to get out there. So most of the field prep's done and ground covers down, and trying to
what kind
cut
of
back on
style
water.
Are you using for the growing out there? Is it in the
What's up?
What are you doing for growing out there? Like what style? It's obviously larger scale. So
everything we've kind of scaled back a little just because we're really only trying to grow for our own personal products this year because the hemp's so expensive to harvest and it's become harder and harder to sell and worth less and less. So we really just want to make sure that we have stuff that's pesticide free and just that we're able to get to it and harvest it and process it right exactly when we want to. I mean, we're basically doing it all for terps this year, and not even like the large scale steam terps as much as like kind of our live resin CBD stuff for the rec market that we did last year. Because with terps, we'll find a farmer that grew too much. We'll just run a big combine through the field and take it to the still.
Yeah.
Because insofar, somebody's grown too much. It's basically giving us free hemp every year.
And you mentioned ground cover. What are you using for ground cover?
We try to avoid it as much as we can, just because when we run a combine through, if we are going just for terps, you have to remove the ground cover beforehand, or it gets a bunch of plastic in your product. So
okay, so that would be the plastic covering would be what you had.
Yeah, when we do it, it's plastic covering. We don't use any of the biodegradable stuff just because it's kind of flimsy and crappy, and we remove it at the end of the season anyways. The whole point of the biodegradable stuff would be to just leave it there, and it kind of makes a mess.
Yeah, no, of course, that's where we definitely still need to come with some better products to hopefully kind of meet in the middle, because lots of the times what's laid out there for like the biodegradable options is generally a lot more of a handful than it.
And then if you do have to remove it later, it's a nightmare because it's like trying to pull apart wet toilet paper or something. It's just like, you know what I mean? Can you imagine just like plastic that's had a year of UV on it, just like falls apart?
That's supposed to disintegrate.
Yeah. No fun. You got like some medical plants or recreational plants out?
Yeah, I got quite a few things going on. The indoor garden is as usual, but outside I got 30 or so plants in my space here. And then just going all with like the kind of Jadam styles. Lots of them are in hugels. Some of them are just in ground in like old regular garden bed that hasn't been tilled for a couple seasons now. Kind of just adopting those practices.
You doing any autos this year?
Yeah, actually, I just for fun, I planted a whole bunch of autos in between all of my other plants. But I've like pointedly not wanted to give them any love or anything. So I think out of like the 15 or 20 that I threw in there, only 5 or so have actually taken off, maybe even less. I'll have to double check.
They're finicky, man. They're difficult to get going,
especially when you're making them like survive with the other companion plants, and like they've got ducks trampling them, and they're in it for fun. So I'm not worried at all. So we'll see. So I'm excited for that, and I might throw. I'm probably going to do one more planting of them just as these first ones kind of come to fruition a little bit if I've still got space. But otherwise, I'll throw a couple in pots just because I want to see. But I mean, when I'm talking pots, I'm talking like at least 20-gallon or bigger, because
so when you do them in a pot, try to do 1 seed per gallon. So like if you do a 20-gallon pot, throw 20 in there.
Really? I'd like that's an
yeah. because you'll get a lot better. You'll get like 20 nice single colas rather than like one kind of shitty plant. Because we've tried putting the autos in bigger and bigger pots, and it seems like after like 3-4 gallons, it kind of maxes out. At least what we've seen, what it wants to do.
And it,
Rather than
Okay,
if you do a bunch
one
of
more
singles.
time. One more time. That was a bit of a knowledge drop. So those of you who didn't hear it, this is a knowledge drop for autos. One more time, Eric. Eric's been growing auto seed. If y'all know, he's got autos that he bred a whole bunch of autos and stuff. So Eric, go ahead. One more time. Let's hear that knowledge drop.
Oh, just the same thing I said before
Yeah,
about the
pots.
amount of seed
Yeah.
for.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. I was saying if you're gonna do autos, if you're gonna do multiple in one pot, or if you're gonna do a large pot, what's been good for us is 1 seed per gallon. So a 15-gallon pot, you do 15 auto seeds. So rather than get one kind of mediocre plant that thinks it has more room than it needs, then we'll get 15 just single colas.
See, agree.
When they're right next to each other, they won't branch out as much as they'll kind of keep it one tall cola.
I like that. Yeah,
That's
see a
cool.
green style. Yeah, makes
I have to
sense.
try that in one of the pots just for
Because
fun. And then I know
we
we
have
had some in the
friends.
ground last year out of the property, and they did they were good size, like damn near as tall, like 5 feet plus, and some nice looking buds. I believe that was the purple pine berry or the grapefruit haze. I don't recall which one.
When Tara and I want to say this is when Tara and I met, was at the CCC conference in Oregon. And she and I both saw this lecture from Seth Crawford from Oregon CBD.
Yeah, I
and
recorded
also,
it live with you. Remember, we were in the audience.
Right
I
on.
recorded
Well,
it
then it
live
should be
on my
somewhere
channel. It's on the channel.
Tara's channel, maybe really early on. And gosh, what's the guy's name? He wrote the Jeff Lowenfels. It was Jeff Lowenfels and Seth Crawford. It was moderated by Shango Los pretty early in the Shaping Fire days. And they had a great conversation, I think like an hour long, about autoflowers. And Jeff and Seth were saying that when you throw autoflowers out, especially, the cannabis ruderalis plants, that it's all about how much topsoil you have. And if you have enough topsoil and the roots don't get stunted, you could have a 6-foot tall auto. Now, me personally, have I grown a 6-foot tall auto? No. But one time, I live right near where, and I work right near where the Crawford's Oregon CBD company has their outdoor test plots. And I don't know if they do outdoor test plots anymore, right on the side of the road, because they're $1 billion company at this point, and people could just steal their genetics. But I saw in I want to say July, maybe early August, 6-foot tall, purple finished plants in one of their fields. And it was right after we had seen the CCC talk. So I was like, damn, they do have 6-foot tall autos. Granted, I know people who grew out their autos from Oregon CBD company, and none of them were 6 feet tall. So those guys really know what they're doing, or they were putting some special juice in the soil. I don't know.
It's got the special juice.
I don't know. Those guys are
Steroids.
Yeah.
Juicing their plants on steroids. Well, y'all, we missed the 420
Sorry.
gab, but we're down. That's okay. No, it was great information. I love talking about autos because we don't talk about autos enough. I think in the future, autos are going to make an amazing thing. I think they're definitely going to be for people. I think they're going to have amazing qualities. They already do. Like you've already come up with some breeds and the flavors, and I'm looking forward to amazing autos in the future. So cheers,
They're
everybody.
getting
Thanks
better.
for tuning in.
Well, exactly. And they're going to keep getting better as long as, they just are, because there's enough people interested, and they have a place too. It's not like everyone's if you live in a beautiful place where you can go full terms that you need to go and do a bunch of autos instead, you can, but you don't have to do whatever, fixes your fancy. But like here where I am, it's a nightmare to grow plants just with how our seed, mid-September, end of September, it just turns into hell.
Snow.
October's awful. So,
Well, Colorado, you do full terms, you're going to get snows. Oregon, you do full term, you're going to get mold. I mean, the most valuable, popular stuff, the light depth stuff that comes out before the full term anyways. So, sorry Tara. I know you signed off like 2 or 3 times. Your outro. Ooh, is that an auto?
No, these are just full. Those are like 8 feet. They're not.
Okay,
too
I was
great,
about to
but-
say, damn, that's huge.
No. So, but that's like what I deal with at the end of every season. And like this year, last year, I pointedly waited for that to happen and then just wanted to see. And it was great, actually. The plants all did good. It's cool seeing plants pray with snow on them. So that was insane. This was right as I was harvesting. So that was like later into the day. And yeah, it didn't provide too many issues, but you have to have like a real on point setup to be able to have everything dried, right? And like utilize some real low humidities, and it's not not ideal, but it's cool to see. And I know a couple other guys like who's around here, No Grows on Instagram. He's a biker style guy, but he grows a ton of big plants, and every season he has those girls sitting out for like a week or two of snow, like just pointed, and like he doesn't seemingly with the certain cultivars he's running doesn't have crazy issues or anything. Like they just roll through the snow, but it's because the obvious same thing. He's a kind of a living soil guy and got those big beds that have a lot of life in there. So the root zone itself is probably significantly
Nice and
warm compared to the outdoor temperature. But I mean,
and like you said, and I'll let Tara close the show in a second, but like you said, the humidity at that point of year is awful. So it's like if I harvest a bunch of stuff in August, I mean, you could just hang it up anywhere and make sure you have good airflow, you're good. But you hang stuff up in October, you got to have heaters, you got to be doing way more air exchange. It's it's a whole different world financially too.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where it could shine. If we get some really nice, start getting 6-8 foot tall beast autos that you can't really tell a difference, you just run them a little bit tighter or something like that. I wouldn't mind having 2 harvests without worrying about all the stress each season. But I'm a stubborn person, so I don't think I'd ever have less than half of a full term crop just to play around with and try some light depping and whatever. I like to have fun.
For sure.
Growing Congo outdoor this year after that was the
Nice.
last year's harvest, so I clearly didn't. That was an 8-week to 9-week plant, so I was like, why not throw a 13-week plant out?
Yeah, I've been curious to see how that one's gonna do.
Huh?
Tara as well. And
So
Tara's
I
is
have
like
2 of those out.
bodybuilder.
Eric, I gave Eric a Congo too. Eric has the Congo.
I shared a bunch of it, but I haven't put any of it out for myself for this season. But I know a bunch of people who.
I heard it does not get mold at all.
Well, I'll have to put that to the test.
You
It's
should
getting a
put it
little
out
late
at
for me.
your
Usually, if
place.
I don't have it out by June 1st, it's
If you get PM
A
on it,
little
I'll
late
be
for me.
impressed. If someone gets a PM, and if it's the Robert
Do
Creek
you not have any cuttings?
me not rooted, ready to go because I gave a bunch away.
I have some that are like 6. I have some that are like 6 to 12 inches tall.
Well, maybe we'll have to meet up sooner than later because I have a bunch
Okay.
of solventless stuff and.
Let's
You
do
know.
it. Okay,
Cool.
let's plan
Well, let's-
something after show. We'll chat after show. So Eric, I'm gonna let you go. Any final thoughts on what's the best way to contact you? I'm guessing through Instagram, DM you.
Instagram's not a bad way. Farmex, I think Farmex_Oregon on Instagram or Farmex710@gmail.com.
Perfect. Thanks for coming in today and dropping all
thanks
that knowledge
for having
and
me.
chatting again.
Always.
Maybe we'll make it a regular every Wednesday. We'll just make you come show
We'll
up.
rope you in. That's fine.
I'll try.
All right, we have an awesome day. We'll let you get back to work.
All right. Bye later, guys.
Bye, Eric.
Sure.
And as always, it's been awesome hanging out with my co-host Drake. Drake, you got any final thoughts for the show today, or any? Did we miss anything in chat? Did you see anything?
Thanks for everyone tuning in. If you have any more questions about anything we addressed or didn't address, please just let us know. And otherwise, we appreciate every one of you. Hopefully you're nice and medicated and have a great rest of the day. Tara, take it away.
Oh, and here goes my goose. She's gonna sit there and she's gonna get a drink for y'all. Finally, I put that in the middle, and they finally get into it. Can you believe that? It's kind of like you buy your cat a toy and it wants the wrapper, kind of that kind of thing. Yeah. Well, anyways, there's my goose. That's which one's that's George. That's George. The other one's Daisy May in the back there. So the final spotlight of the day, we'll give the goosies there. And you know what? I have to say there was just a hilarious comment in chat, kind of the final thought of the day. I think we should end on Ahmed's thought. And he says, for people who can't wait till the next dab, we sure forget to smoke a lot. I miss that 420 all the time. Do you not?
That's
I
so
love
funny.
it. You guys are awesome. Thanks for keeping me entertained. I had an awesome morning with y'all. It's amazing to wake up with y'all and hang out. We'll be back again on Saturday. We have Breeder Steve coming on soon too. I don't remember if he's coming on Saturday or if it's a Wednesday show, but I have him on the calendar. So he'll be coming back on. And I also have my freeze dryers that I'll be showing off really soon. I'm going to be freeze drying some apples with side by side in my pharmaceutical unit versus my home unit. And they're both going to be side by side medium units. So you'll be able to see that. So I'm super excited to share that with y'all. So as always, have an amazing day. And you can contact us, DM me or Drake on Instagram. I also have a Gmail account, TaraLeeLive@gmail.com. Or a Gmail, right? A Gmail, yeah, there we go. I said it right. Gosh. Yep. I'm like, wait, did I say it wrong? And if you haven't, make sure you sub up and make sure you share this out because we need your help because YouTube does not help share our videos because we are weed friendly. So we would appreciate the share and the love, everybody. Thanks. As always, peace and love. See you on Saturday. Bye.